Stone vet, stone vet, stone vet, stone vet, stone vet, stone vet. The stone vet.
You know what I'm saying? It's time to. The fall is here, man. Fall's here. It's starting to get a lot cooler now. It's not 100+ degrees, and you're not sweating and dying. Like, when's it ever gonna get cold? The fall's getting here. I don't know about Joe here. Joe's in Texas. He may stay warm for a while where he's at, because he's down South Texas. You know?
No, it's actually really nice, man.
It's nice now.
It's actually really, yeah. It started out yesterday. Started out warm, and then within 15 minutes, bam, fall.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the fall weather. I love fall. I'm a fall guy. I like spring and I like fall. Those are my favorite ones, because it's not too cold, but it ain't too hot, and it's comfortable enough to go out and ride your bike and do things outside, you know.
Well,
what I'm saying?
So it's so here that this morning I woke up, right, and had my shirt on. I put on some shorts. I always wear shorts. I always wear cargo shorts now, right? I always got to have cargo pockets. I don't know. You know how that is.
right.
I rock. Cargo pockets. I rock. Hey, because you can carry anything in them.
Right.
I got that. And then I'm barefoot. And I have these, man, I haven't worn them. I have these really badass rainbow flip-flops. You know, rainbows, like I got them in San Clemente. I went to the place. I've had them forever. Just the best flip-flops you can get. If you're in the San Diego, in the South Orange County area, especially if you're a devil dog, you got to head to the Rainbow warehouse. It's right there in San Clemente. You can't miss it. Best flip-flops ever.
Absolutely.
And I'm not plugging them. I don't have like
he ain't plugging them. He ain't getting paid, man.
I just like them. And it's a part of my story. So
right.
So I'm like,
guys,
where are my flip-flops today?
Right.
So I put my flip-flops on. I come up to the front. I open the door. I go out, because I usually go out and I hit the button to turn the car on. I open the door. I step outside. And I'm like, it's chilly. I went back in. I put socks and shoes on.
Oh man. So I'm glad you guys are here, man. Like I tell you guys every week, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, so you know when you get these episodes every Friday, man. You get to see the awesome guests I get to bring on every Friday. And like I tell you guys, this is my therapy session. I don't have to pay a counselor $100 an hour to tell me I'm fucked up, because I already know I'm messed up in the head, you know. And so I'm able to bring all my brothers and sisters with me, man, to be able to come and listen to my story and listen what's going on with my family and my community, man. Huge shout out to Rafa 180. Rafa180.com provides you the best medicinal grade, hospital grade, medicinal grade CBD on the market. It is 100% THC free for you guys that are getting drug tested like myself every 2 weeks, twice a month. That's 2 weeks, right? Every 2 weeks, twice a month. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I get drug tested twice a month, and so I can't use THC no more, right? What kind of guy, what kind of sergeant calls a show the Stone Vet and he don't smoke weed? Well, when I did, let me tell you, that's why I'm advocating for it. And that's why right now is the push. Right now is the huge push for federal legalization. Mr. Schumer, the Honorable Mr. Schumer, Mr. Booker, and all those guys in Congress are getting ready to pass the bill for federal legalization across the country. What that means, if you've looked into it like I have, it will be declassified. So it won't be federally illegal anymore. But if you are in a state and you don't have it for medicinal or adult use, you need to get out. You need to get out and advocate for legalization, because let me tell you something. If I come to your state with my medicine and I get in trouble, I'm going to be highly upset. Highly upset if I get a ticket for carrying my medicine across your state line and you haven't advocated for legalization yet, man. But like I tell you guys, if you're trying to use the endocannabinoid system, as you saw from my episode not too long ago with Mr. Chip Paul from New Pharma, he tells you about the endocannabinoid system, how amazing and how important it is in our bodies that we all have, and why it's important to rejuvenate it and refill it, right? And so go over to rafa180.com, check out their amazing CBD line. They got CBD oil, bath bombs, lotions, lip balms, you name it, they have it. They have everything you need, man. When you go to check out with the STONED VET USMC, get 15% off your entire purchase, dude. It's an awesome deal, especially with the holidays coming up. You guys need to get some stocking stuffers. How cool would it be to give your old lady a nice little bath bomb or a nice CBD lotion to rub on her after she gets out of the bath, so she can get relief in her aches and pains, man. Like I tell you guys, go check out rafa18.com. Provide you with all your medicinal grade CBD products, man. I'm super excited for this episode. I get to bring on another devil dog, jarhead, crayon eating fool, man. What's up, Joe? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Good headspace. Got some work done. Got up actually early. Did some light PT.
Light PT. What's that consist of? What's light PT consist
What's
of?
light PT? Took the dog for a walk around the block. Very light PT.
So I just went.
And she's an elderly dog, so she walks really slow.
Really slow. So that works for you, right? That works for you. Like we could do this while we could go around the block once, right? So here in the Garcia household, as many of y'all know that have been following me for a while, man. I got a beautiful wife. Been together. We're about to celebrate 22 years this April. And we got 7 kids, dude. So one of the things she got me into, she's like, you need to buy a bike. So I had to buy a bike so we can bike around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I had to get one of those wagons you put on the back where you put all the kids in. And so I'm driving around this neighborhood, and we got hills in this neighborhood. And she's like, you got to pull them. She's like, you're the only one strong enough to pull them up these hills. I said, you got to be kidding me, dude. Like, so now I'm riding a bike every day. Now I'm riding a bike with a wagon with the 3 kids in the back, trying to go up these hills. And then my son's like, we got to go to the gym. I don't want to buy a gym membership. I was like, I don't want to. A lot of those gyms, they only have like certain things. And I was like, so I went to the YMCA here in Oklahoma. They're nationwide. Everybody knows the Y. Everybody knows the Y, right? And so I went in there. I paid my $65 a month for the rest of my life to get, because here at the Y here, they got an indoor pool.
Yeah.
They got weights, basketball court. They got everything you need for a family to come hang out.
Great classes, man. Yeah. You know what's this great? I got to tell you, man. There's when you meet certain people, right, and you connect and you share like this energy or whatever this is. Right. And you start to have more conversations, you start to realize, like, man, just how in tune you really are. Because I'm a huge YMCA advocate, YWCA advocate. I think they have some great programs out there. And like, yeah, they have, like, you can pay, but what's great about them is people like us that can afford to pay. Right. It's not necessarily like they're going to make money off of us. Because if there's someone that can't afford to pay, they have scholarships.
Yeah, so they told me about that. They're like, they got scholarships.
Yeah, because like, we always have this big talk in our country, right, about capitalism versus socialism, right? Like, oh, it's misappropriation and socialism is bad and capitalism is bad, and it's like this whole thing, right? Well, I think that there is a way to combine those two and have like a capitalism social business. Right. I don't know, but it's like the way we do some of our stuff with my soap company, right? Like every bar we sell, we donate a bar, right? And then a part of our proceeds always go to something, like whatever it is. Like I mean. Because the way going forward, I really think we need to kind of evaluate what our costs are in our business, right? Like if truly, because if you look at all the business plans, it tells you to incorporate your operating costs within your price, right? So then profit is just the extra for somebody else. Right. So if you really kind of validate your pricing structure to include all of these, to take care of your employees, to take care of everything within house, man, you have so much leeway with your profit to help others, right? Because look, that is extra. It's and you're gonna I mean, obviously you want to reward yourself for the hard work and you want to take care of your family, but again, I still think the way people think of how they spend their money, it's like, cool, I'm spending, like for us, like, oh, I'm spending this much money on this. But what else does it go into? Like, how do they pay their employees? Like, do they take care of them? Like, what are they doing for the environment around them? Like, what's going on? Like, I think people are willing to spend more if they know that there's more value in it. Right. Even if it doesn't have a direct impact on them immediately. Right. Like, I think. people really, yeah.
Absolutely, and a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like, "Well, what's my dollar going to? Where's my dollar going? What are we? What is the money going to, and stuff like that?" And I mean, like you said, so I went and bought my $65 membership. You know, the guy waived it because I came in like halfway through the month, so he's like, "It's gonna be $31 this month," and he said, "I'm not gonna waive, and I'm gonna waive your initial." Registration.
Yeah.
It's like $25 on top of that. He's like, I'll waive it. He was another Army guy, which was great. I was like, oh, cool. You know what I'm saying? Cool. And so he was another Army guy, and he's like, I'll just waive the 25. Don't worry about it. He said, that's fine. I was like, wow, you're really gonna waive it? I said, I'll pay the $90 to join. You know what I'm saying? It's fine because it's only $65 a month, and I'm already wasting money on crap. And I was like, I told my wife, I got to get back in the gym. Like I went out and I paid $100 for the year subscription of Beachbody. I used 2 programs, and I was like, I can't do this at home. Like I'm not an at-home guy. I have to go to the gym. I have to go sit in the gym. And my son, he's 16, so he's all about, I want to get big. I want to, like any of us were when we were 16. I want to be a big dude. I want to, And I was like, all right.
That's funny. Yeah.
So I got him a membership, so now he can go to the Y and go work out and stuff. He's actually working on getting his license. Hopefully by December he'll be able to go and get his license. He's been driving us around and stuff so he can get his time in to get his driver's license. But I told him, I said, dude, when you get your license, that don't mean you can just take any one of our cars and just go wherever the hell you want to go. That's just not how it's going to work, And so that's what we're trying to do now, is trying to get everything set up. Cause I'm going to have to go get him a car. And, my mom's like, it's got to be a safe car and all this hoopla stuff, And so that's one thing. He's growing up. He's 16. He's growing up. He just went through a horrible heartache right now. One of his girlfriend broke up with him, but she was worthless anyways. I told him, I was like, she left you for her old boyfriend. And I was like, she was probably already talking to him anyways, I said, so I said, girls are hard, dude. I said, I don't even know why you want to mess with them. I said, they are so hard.
Yeah.
The relationships are hard. In general, relationships are hard.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They're hard, So you guys don't know. This is Joe. He's another devil dog jar. Hey, devil dog. Why don't you break it down and tell these guys what you did in the Corps, how long you were in, and why you got out? Why don't you just break it down Barney style so they can relate to you and be like, oh, he is another freaking crayon eater.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, I think just like everybody else, I just had this, ever since I was a kid, I had this calling and I wanted to do something greater.
Right.
And I don't know, my mom tells a story that she used to always say, as a really young kid, I used to run around playing like army, playing soldiers, like war stuff, running around and wanting to wear camouflage and that whole thing. So I guess I always did that. And then I remember as a young kid, as I got a little bit older, I remember getting toys from Marines.
Oh, right? Okay. Toys for Tots type stuff.
Yeah, the Toys for Tots program. So here in Houston, I remember there was this, my grandmother took me, I was living with my grandmother at the time, me and my younger brother. And I just remember going to this one place and it's this huge line and we're just waiting. And of course, back then, you're a kid and you're growing up like that. You just think you have such a negative outlook on life. Opportunities always seem narrow.
I mean? Your perception. Because you being Hispanic as well as myself, that's how we grew up poverty. We was in the poverty line.
Yeah.
We hit that poverty line. And like that, when they're, like you said, you go on Toys for Tots, it's a donation. They're donating to the families, of less fortunate families, right? And I was in that. I was part of that, and definitely how you're saying, you're like, this sucks, dude. I got to come here and get my toys. My parents can't just go buy me toys or whatever,
Well, yeah, no. So but I never see it. See, that was the thing, right? Though, I never really at that time. That was actually a treat because otherwise I wouldn't got anything.
You wouldn't have anything, right? Yeah.
So it was actually. I think I looked at it different. It didn't. It was like, oh man, but at the time I didn't know what I was doing. Right. I thought it was here we're in another line for a long thing. Maybe I'm going to go get shots or I thought it was who knows.
Right.
But we go in there and it's these Marines in their dress blue uniform. Right.
Ooh, look at all
standing tall. I was just like, whoa, that's cool. And then they did a color guard thing and it was just my eyes were huge. And then they were handing out toys. So this is, they look like, fuck, man, when you're a kid, you're looking at like, now that I know, I mean, we'll come full circle though, right? Like
Right,
now
right.
I really know. But back then I was like, wow, this is the most top thing. It's like Captain America, man. That's
Right.
Captain America, right?
Right.
So, and they give me these toys. So I think that's when I recognized, I think maybe that's when the seed was planted. So fast forward, I get older, my mom, and I end up living with my mom again. I leave Houston and I go up to Colorado. I go to high school there and I'm living with my mom. And the YMCA actually taught me how to swim. So I knew how to swim when I was.
Awesome.
Yeah. So then I'm in Colorado. And again, who would have thought in Colorado I start swimming, but I really took to swimming. I really wanted to swim. Right. So then, of course, somebody says, hey, you should think of the Coast Guard. So initially, I wanted to join the Coast Guard.
That would have been the smart choice. That would have been the smart choice.
So like I was on this whole Coast Guard track. Like I wanted to be a rescue swimmer. Like I was gonna, that
would have been the right choice to make. You know that.
Yeah. So I'm applying to the Coast Guard Academy, right? Like the Coast Guard Academy and Semper Preparatus, right? Always prepared. But anyway, so I apply to them and the whole thing, and I don't make it to the academy. So then I'm you know what? I'll just go enlisted and then work my way through.
Right.
But I'm in a landlocked state at the time, so I'm in there, and there's like 2 recruiters for the entire state of Colorado, and the guys are never in Southern Colorado. They're always up by Denver. So every time I go, they're not there. But guess who is in their office?
The damn jawheads, dude. They always
Devil Dog Recruiter.
Absolutely. No, it's funny because here in Oklahoma, one of my neighbors here, she's an Air Force recruiter. And I said, you probably got the skatest job in the entire Air Force. I said, you guys ain't never there. She's like, oh, we there. We always out driving around. I said, you so full of crap. You want to know who's out driving around? Fucking Marine. She's like, oh, those motherfuckers work 7 days a week. I said, I know. I was like, I know, 7 days a week because I try to recruit because nobody wants to join the Corps.
So then he's like, that guy's the staff. It was a staff sergeant. He's like, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. He's like, what are you, Coast Guard, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I want to be a swimmer. And he goes, we got swimmers in the Marine Corps. So we went through this whole thing, and then I'm like, but I don't know what I want to do. And then he told me all, and then so then it was like, all right, cool. I'd like to do that. And then I was like, and then I started to research stuff, and I was like, you know what I want to do? I would love to be an embassy guard. Like I'd love to go to an embassy and do that. And the recruiter goes, hey man, we can help you out with that. But you know what? Your best chances to be there, he goes, is you got to go infantry. And he goes, and if you really want it, you got to sign up for 6 years right off the bat. You can pick your duty station. Look, man, I got to say this. If you need salesmen, hit up recruiters, man. Recruiters are some of the best salesmen ever. So literally he got
East Coast.
But I say that, but really after I looked at everything, right? I mean, he kept feeding me that, you got to do the infantry if you want to do that. This is your best option. But really after I thought about it, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to go to the Marine Corps, I'm going to do infantry.
Why not be infantry, right? Why not be kicking indoors?
Right. I mean, it's the Corps, right? I mean, you don't go to the Marine Corps. You don't want to go to the Marine Corps to be a weatherman.
Which would have been
which is funny because I've met a few meteorologists.
No, absolutely. Actually, I went and talked with with a financial advisor here in Norman not too long ago, and she said her husband was in the Marine Corps. He was a jarhead. And he was a weatherman. He was a meteorologist. I was like, what the fuck? How do you get these jobs? Like, how do you hear about these? How do you hear about these jobs, dude?
Say what? Yeah.
How do you know about these jobs? Anyway. These are like secrets. These are like the secret handbook of jobs in the Marine Corps. So
like I was like, okay, yeah, sign me up. And what was crazy is at the time was I wasn't sure. I was just kind of like I hadn't really committed. I was going to the delay entry program, but really I think one of the other things that was keeping me was I was teaching martial arts. Like I came to Colorado and I started doing martial arts at the 9th grade. And I really kind of took to me, and I was in this small school. When I got there, we had like 100 and something students. But by the time I was a senior in high school, we had like over 5,000 students. There were 3 locations. We were doing like really well. It was super cool. And the instructor was like, he had sat us down, me and a couple of the other guys, and he was telling us his plans about expanding and how we were kind of in the picture of he'd like to kind of almost like a franchise thing. And here I'm like a 17-year-old kid,
right?
Yeah, 17-year-old kid, right? Almost 18, thinking about like going to become a business owner, like a partner in a business, like. But that's how I think back then that's how martial arts was. Like you got into a studio, into a school, and you literally built your empire. Right. The guy that I learned from another person who actually learned from Ed Parker, who was a big Kempo guy, because I used to do Kempo karate, right? It was like if you ever look at this movie, there was this movie called The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman. He actually did that. He was a direct descendant in the line of martial arts I did. Wow. Super cool. It was a really cool thing. Ed Parker knew like Bruce Lee, and he was like in that kind of thing.
Okay.
But anyway, so we were doing that, and then I don't know, something fell through. And at the time, I was always like, we'll get to that part, but something fell through, and then I just decided to go right away. So I just like, I'm just going to go to the Corps. So I just joined, took off. Like I was supposed to not go until December, but I ended up going in September and literally graduated before my actual date was supposed to go.
Oh, shit.
For my original ship date. And then I was hooked, man, but it was funny. So I went in there and he's like, yeah, because you're signing up for this, you get to pick a duty station. And I wanted to like do like cool shit. So I was like, I'm going to go overseas. So I signed up for Hawaii, Third Marine, Third Marine Division. So I signed up for Hawaii and everything, and I was supposed to go. But then, of course, when you go through boot camp, you remember they do all the history classes, right?
Right.
And they talk about like the most decorated unit in the Marine Corps, right? 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, the most decorated unit in the Marine Corps.
Camp Lejeune, baby.
So, we're going. So I'm going. So I'm in boot camp, and we're at the end, and they're calling out things. And the drill instructor is like, all right, if you have like a special enlistment thing and it's not right, you let us know. Now, I had signed up for Hawaii, right?
Right. But
they started to go off, and they said, Palacios, 0300, Camp Pendleton, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. And I was like, 2-5? Man, those are badasses. And I just shut up. I didn't want to say nothing. I'm like, no, I'm going to go there, dude.
Right.
Yeah. So I ended up in God's country. So that was my first unit was 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, Fox Company, Black Hearts, get harder, die. I rock.
Look at these guys.
So anyway, so that was my first unit. And then from there, I actually did a little bit longer. I extended to stay longer with the unit. And then of course I thought, man, I'm done. You know, I did my thing, got out. And like in 6 months, I was like, I miss it, dude.
No.
So I joined back.
You joined again? You went back again?
Yeah. So I did a little, almost 7, my first enlistment. And then I joined back as kind of like a reservist. So I joined back as a reserve, but like 6 months later. And then I was only a reservist for maybe a year where I did 1 week in a month. I did the whole thing for maybe a year. Because I think at the time, what I thought was I missed the organization of the Marine Corps, right? Like, right. I got out and it was quick because it was a family, man. They're our brothers, like our service members, like the people that serve with us, they feel like family, right? You don't always like them. They piss you off. Some of them you really hate, but they're still your family, right? No. Like you still got to take care of them.
That's what a lot of people ask me. Yeah. That's what a lot of people ask me. They say, you miss the Corps. I say, I don't miss the Corps by any means. I don't miss that. I miss my brothers and my sisters. That's what I miss. I miss the camaraderie. I miss hanging out and bullshit and just shooting the shit and just kicking each other's asses and just having fun and hanging out together. That's what I miss. Yeah. Is that my camaraderie, because I don't have it. You know what I'm saying? You get out, you don't have it no more. Man, that, like you said, it's like, I miss it. Like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah, so I did that. I went back and then, which is funny though, right? Because so I go back and I joined this reserve unit, and I'm not really getting my fix because I still kind of feel left out.
It's a
right?
bunch of civilians.
Because I don't know anybody. I'm the new
You don't
guy.
know anybody, right? Yeah, you're the new guy.
Yeah. So I'm there, but of course, Marines, we stick it out. We do what we're supposed to do. We keep charging on, and then eventually you build those relationships, right? So you start to grow into it. And then of course 9/11 happened, and then they activated our unit, and then the rest was history. Like I didn't get off of active duty, so I ended up staying in another on active duty as a reservist, and then so I stayed with 4th LAR, man, almost eight more years.
Dang.
Yeah. And of those 8 years, like I said, almost like, yeah, most of them active duty as a reservist. So I was during the time that the reservists came in, I was a scout with Alpha Company, 4th LAR. While they were back home, I'd go up to my barracks room, and during the week, I worked in operations. I started as a training operations assistant, and then I worked for the ops chief, and then so, and then it's a full circle, right? I want to tell you full circle. And then I became a Toys for Tots coordinator.
Oh, man.
So I was like, man, that's crazy, dude, right? And I used to go up and I used to tell that story when we were doing Toys for Tots to tell everybody. I was like, full circle is that when I was a kid, this thing gave me toys. Like,
right.
These Marines were able to hand toys to me, right? And to be able to kind of like make that whole circle,
right,
and then be able to like bless other young kids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an experience. It's just I
mean, that's an experience, to be able to see I did this,
I got to share this because that 4th LAR Toys for Tots organization, and then they were actually a part of a really great collaboration of a couple of reserve units in that Southern California area that created some amazing things for Toys for Tots. Like we created a partnership with UPS, with a Knott's Berry Farm, and a St. Vincent de Paul, which was like a mission Catholic church in Southern California. And we used to do a Toys for Tots fundraising at Knott's Berry Farm. People could Knott's Berry Farm would allow people into their park for the 3 weekends before Christmas. Actually, the last weekend of November and the first 3 weekends of December before Christmas, right? Yeah. You brought 2 new unwrapped toys, and they would entry fee. Man, we would collect almost 1 million toys.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
what a
we
blessing.
Was probably some of the most successful Toys for Tots program in that time that I was there. And I wasn't the only coordinator. Like I started out as an assistant coordinator. Man, Jason Williams, he's retiring soon. The Master Gunnery Sergeant probably now. Hopefully
Maybe Master Guns will come watch the
Jason
show
Williams,
and hang out with
he was
us.
my mentor. Yeah, it was my mentor, Toys for Tots coordinator. Man, he showed me the ropes. I joined in, and then I was a coordinator after he took off for a little bit, and then somebody else carried it on. But we had developed such great partnerships for that group. And it's funny that we're talking about it so close to Christmas. Isn't that, right? Man, nothing is for a reason. Guys, get out there and help Toys for Tots. Go find a donation center and give to that organization. It's such a great organization. Man, it's nothing, bro, nothing is a coincidence.
Nothing at all, brother. So you guys know, so me and Joe, we have, so this is what I love about my podcast. This is what I love about the STONED VET USMC is that I have met some amazing brothers and sisters running the show. Like, without this show, I would have never met the amazing people. I would have never met my family members. Like, I don't know about you guys. I'm Hispanic. I got, you know, Joe, you Hispanic. We got thousands of freaking cousins, aunts, uncles all over the country. I will never meet all of them. Like, I'll never meet them. My mom's like, oh, yeah, you got a cousin up in Michigan. And you got another one in Ohio. And I'm like, I'll never meet them. Like, and it's not my goal to go and meet them because they're their own people. I don't,
Oh
But
man,
stuff
you're
like
even
this,
better
brother.
one. Even better than that. We have so many cousins that people will call us cousin, and we'll just assume that they're really our cousin. So
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like, so we, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it happens when I'm now in Houston all the time. Hey, cuz, what's up? And I'm just like, oh, what's up, cuz? Because I have so many.
Yeah.
Even if he's not, well, he is now because I got so many anyway.
You got so many, but and this is what's great about this kind of stuff, being able to do this. I get to meet Joe Palacios. He is one of the guys that runs Maxwell Soaps. This is what he's doing. And I gotta tell you guys, I bring entrepreneurs on my show all the time. Like, these people found their purpose after serving their country. They're like, what do I do now? That's our biggest struggle. Is like, what's my purpose? What do I do now? What am I going to do that's going to give me satisfaction in living every single day, you know? And like things like this, how you're like, dude, he's like, being able to go and support Toys for Tots, supporting the nonprofits in your area. A lot of people don't understand the importance of a nonprofit, you know? I've had Travis Johnson on my show. Joe knows Travis. So we're all part of this venturepreneur tribe, veteran entrepreneur tribe, right? You got to pay to be in the club, of course. But like anything else, you pay your dues, but they come back around. Like Joe was talking about with Toys for Tots, they came back around, right? And so being part of the club, you get to meet awesome veteranpreneurs is what they call them. That's what they call us, veteran entrepreneurs, people trying to make a living after serving the country. Like, what do we do now? What's my purpose? Me? It's this podcast. Is it bringing money yet? Not yet. But I got people already reaching out for sponsorships, and I'm creating my sponsorship package so that I can start getting paid doing this, providing you guys with an amazing show, and providing you guys, hopefully I can get some of these guys to provide a discount code so you can go and try out their products, you know, which is amazing, dude. And I love it. I love being able to network like this because, like I tell you guys regularly on every show, is that you have to get outside and network. Do we hate going outside? Yes. I hate leaving my house. I find an excuse to not talk to anybody if I can. I'll be like, oh, I can't help you. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't help you. But we have to be able to reach outside and talk to our brothers and sisters. This is why I bring all these amazing guests on the show, so you guys can reach out to them. Like, if you want to get into what they're doing, hey, how did you start it? If you want to get in a t-shirt business, I got great people that started a t-shirt business. Reach out to them. Hey, I want to get started in a t-shirt business. What did you do to get started? Or Joe here doing Maxwell Soaps. Hey, I want to get into making soaps. What kind of information can you help me? What would be the best way for me to start, you know? And like Joe said, man, he'd been invited to go on podcasts, but they told him he had to go spend $600 on equipment to come on the show. And I'm like, dude, just come however you are. You want to do it on your phone? You want to do it on your laptop? I don't give a damn. Just as long as you on my show. I just need somebody to talk to, because like I tell you guys, this is my therapy session. I get to hang out with my brothers and sisters that I don't get to, they're not down the street. I can't just go down the street and say hi. I got to pick up a phone and reach out to somebody, you know? And with technology the way it is now, I'm bringing this show through Zoom for you guys to see it, to hang out with us. So when you're driving in the car, you can put me in. If you're on Apple, make sure you give me a 5-star review. I tell you guys that all the time. But anywhere, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Good Pods, wherever you listen to podcasts, I'm there. And if I'm not, I always tell you guys to message me so I can make sure that I can upload it so you have it at your disposal. You can use it however you want to do it. You know, the whole new thing, Richard Kaufman's taught me a lot. Mr. Kaufman, you know Richard, Joe. You know Richard.
The comeback coach, man.
Mr. Comeback Coach. He's taught me so much with the hashtag, the STONED VET USMC. That's what I tell people. When I meet new people, they're like, how can I was wearing my hoodie. So you guys see my logo. Everybody loves the logo. And they always ask me, say, how can I find your shows? And I just tell them, like Richard told me, he said, hashtag the STONED VET USMC. You go to Google, you put in hashtag the STONED VET USMC, it's going to pull up everything. My Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really post too much on Twitter. I don't like Twitter. That's like a left-wing website, and I'm just not a fan of Twitter. But it pull up my YouTube channel. It pull up, you know, like you go to Alexa. If you like Alexa, you like say, hey, play the STONED VET USMC. It's going to pull it up. You go to Google, hey, play the STONED VET USMC. It's going to pull it up, you know. And so this is what's great about this, is being able to network and talk with brothers like Joe.
We would like to give a huge thanks to Rafa 180. Rafa 180 offers pure medicinal CBD and products made locally. They walk alongside individuals to achieve a healthy lifestyle. with options needed by each person. You can learn more about them on Facebook at Rafa CBD, their website www.rafa180.com, or email at rafacbd@gmail.com. They truly believe your journey matters.
You brother, I applaud you for that, because I did 9 years active duty and I was like, I ain't doing this no more. I can't do this no more, you know? And so
well, no, it's like you get in, right? But and you start to go through that thing, and as the time goes, it's like you're in there for so long, and then you have so many family, right? And then you're like, all right, well, those guys are still here, so I got to stick around with them, right?
right.
But then what happens is, like, those guys only, like, once you hit, like, I guess when you get to that point where, because I became training, right? Like, so I started training other Marines. Like, when you get to, like, but in like bigger groups. Right. So when you start to really put your time into the training aspect, not being trained and just operating with your guys, but really, like, you know, establishing different, you know, tactics, you know, the whole thing, all these kind of procedure stuff, you kind of are invested. And then you're like, well, I got to stick around and see how these guys are going to do. Right. But then those guys they're just in that part where they train. A few of them stay after, but most of them leave. But then you get these new guys, and then you're like training them again. Then you're like, well, I got to stick with these guys now. So you kind of like, you fall into that cycle of like, oh, training, I'll just get out I'll get out with these guys. But then you get these newer guys, and then you're like, well, okay, I got to stick with them.
Right.
But it's really, yeah. So
that's a leadership role. Would you retire as a gunny or as a mess sergeant?
No, I retired as a staff sergeant, man. I was a dinosaur Marine, right? Like I was
old school Marine.
I came in the early 90s and stuff. So as everybody progressed, I came up in the time when it was like, you're not a real Marine unless you've had 2 NJPs, like, you know what I mean? Like
5 divorces and all this other
stuff,
right?
So all these things. Luckily, that part never really stuck to me. And here's the funny thing, though: like, women had always been my kind of like
weakness, right?
Kryptonite.
Right. No shit. I know. My wife will tell you. My wife will tell you now to this day. She's like,
yeah. But you know what's funny is that I was always like, that young devil dog, I saw all of like the crazy stuff that happened. And then my team leader was really cool at like, my first team leader, Javier Castro. We just reconnected recently too. Great guy, man. Awesome. Corporal Castro. Awesome. He actually, man, all right, he was very kind of like good in that way in like mentorship type stuff, right? So we always saw like all of the downplays, but I looked at it differently. I was like, well, I'm just not going to put any woman in a position. So I didn't want to get married while I was in. Like, I didn't want to put her in a position where I'm overseas and she's got to question her loyalty, and there's going to be a thing. So like the whole early time in my career, I never really kind of took relationships seriously. It's like I had people we had fun with. I did a couple of times some mistakes with some long-term relationships. It probably my headspace wasn't in the right space because I knew that I didn't want to have a family at the time, and I didn't want to do these kind of, because I didn't want to put anybody in that position. So so I never had kids like for the longest time. Like my oldest kid is like 14.
Oh damn!
I'm gonna be
old,
50.
Dude. You're old, and your kid's oldest kid's.
I'm gonna be 50, and like my oldest is like, my youngest is 6. So.
Dang, you're gonna be like.
So I got one that's gonna.
You're gonna be like really 70, but.
Yeah.
You waited a while. I didn't. My oldest is 18. Yeah, so 19 this January.
It wasn't until I kind of like I was in a non-deploying status. I was doing a lot of training stuff, and then that's when I met my wife, and and we didn't So I mean, it wasn't until like the way twilight of my career, but yeah. So like, I got in trouble in other ways, right? Which hindered my rank promotion. It never hindered in anybody's how do I say it? Like, it never interfered within the jobs that I could do, right? Like, it never limited me to the positions I held. it maybe stopped me from making certain rank advances. Yeah. But man, how many staff sergeants you know were a G3 training chief? Like, I mean, I validated training for one meth.
Right.
Right. I mean, I had G3. I had 3 shops that reported to me. Right. And those 3 shops were the Division 3 shop, were the Logistics 3 shop, the Wings 3 shop. Like, right. Like, it's not like I just ran a platoon. Right. So
right. No, you're running big things. Yeah. You're doing big things.
Yeah. I mean, I oversaw, like, I had programs that I oversaw, like the improvised detector explosive dogs, right? The improvised explosive detector, IDDs. That program was in my lap at the end of my career. You know, so it was pretty cool, man. I had a great time in the Corps.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what a lot of people fail to understand. So I work for the Air Force, and I freaking hate it every day. The Air Force is, like I said before, the Air Force has got to be the worst branch out of all branches. Like, they are the worst. I mean, just with leadership, just with professionalism, just with everything in general. It frustrates me working for the Air Force because I do things. We're jarheads, dude. We rank is everything in the Marine Corps. You understand that, Staff Sergeant. You understand that. Rank, we abide by and we stand for our rank. Like, we are who we are. And you already know, you as a staff sergeant, I feel sorry for you because you were getting it from both ends. Like, you weren't high enough up to say this is how it's going to be, but you weren't low enough down to say I ain't doing this. You know what I'm saying? As a staff sergeant, you were like right in that middle bubble. You're like right there where I was as a sergeant, because everybody knows that the sergeant was the backbone of the Marine Corps. You go to the sergeant makes sure everything gets done. You know. And that's why I try to tell a lot of these Air Force guys. I was like, as an E5, we're holding billets. We're holding E8 billets. We're holding Master Sergeant billets. Like, this is the mission. This is what we have to do, and this is how it has to be. You know. And a lot of people, like in the Air Force, that's one of the frustrations, that rank don't mean crap in the Air Force. They're your buddy, and you know you can't tell them you have to do this because of whatever. And I'm like,
well, I think
no.
Well, you know, I think in the Corps, you're leading somebody at all times.
All the time.
Whatever, regardless of the rank you are always leading somebody. Right. And I think that's why the Marine Corps has always been successful in combat, right? Or in completing missions, because everybody has been used to leading somebody. Right. Like, even the damn PFC's got somebody he's in charge of. Right. Like, everybody's like, there's somebody that and if you're the last guy, eventually they're going to put you in charge of something anyway. Right. Absolutely. Right. Like, everybody is always in charge of somebody, and then it's, you know, so that leadership thing it's ingrained. And what's crazy is that they don't do that in some of the other services. Most of the other services won't entrust leadership until they're
until they're an E4, E5, maybe even E6. I think in the Air Force it's like E6 when they actually start incorporating you into leadership.
Well, I mean, shoot, some of them don't consider. Some like, I know, like in the Navy, they like waited. Some of those guys don't want to listen until they're like a E6.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, that's why you guys fail so much, man. So since you got now, you have incorporated yourself with this Maxwell Soaps, right? You said it was a brother of yours that actually started the company.
Yeah, a Navy brother.
A Navy brother, and he brought you on board. He said, "I need you to run this for me," right? Like,
yeah. Well, it's I think it's more of a collaborative partnership, right? Like, me and him were Max Moore, by the way, great, my brother, man. Me and him really, really bonded over smooth jazz on a plane ride.
Oh, like, wow.
Really like bond. Yeah. So, so when I got out, and it's still my as a transitional work program for veterans, right? Like, because I really think a lot of our veteran issues have to do with transition. It's the only commonality that we have. And it's more, I think, mindset and healing portion of it. It's not necessarily that we can't crush it when we get out, right? Like, we can't find a job, compartmentalize, and find the mission and just charge forward, because we can. All of us can, and we'll kill it. We'll crush it, right? But I think, as the more we know, like, because I think we're in a bigger information age. So I think we realize that there are something going on, and a lot of it, the compartmentalization is not happening. And I think that's kind of a good thing, because the last group of people that went through this are like Vietnam vets, right?
Right.
And they always say, well, you never heard them talk about this stuff. But you did, because if you look at what started happening after the Vietnam War and protesting and veterans like getting out there and doing a lot of stuff. But those guys were labeled like descendants or hippies or they're not right. And then you had another phase of Vietnam vets who hid their service and they compartmentalized and they got into business and they crushed it. Right. Like I met these guys. I was in a bad place and somebody recommended going to the vet center. So I started going to a vet center. And then I started getting into accounting and I started going to a group and I just started to heal. But we combined our groups. We had an OIF group and a Vietnam veteran group. And we got in this group together. And it was listening to these guys who, amazing leaders in the community, successful businessmen. But here they are in the twilight of their age where they no longer had a mission because they've all retired now.
Right.
And guess what? They're like outing it. They're like, man, the last 30 years, the way I survived was I focused on work. I came home, finished a handle of vodka, finished a handle of whatever it was until I put myself to sleep, struggling through the nightmares. And then I get back up and then I just bottle it back in and just do it again.
Right.
And he goes, and now I don't have anything to focus on. And now I'm like, it's worse and it's worse. And here we are. And they encouraged us.
Right.
They said, you got to tell your brother, heal now.
Right.
Healing from healing from these traumas or whatever you might have, do it now. Don't wait 60 years, man. Don't wait until you're in your mid to late 60s to try to figure this out and suffer all those years. He's like, I'm not saying you guys can't, because look, we did it. We crushed it and we did, and we still, and people will look at our lives and they'll be like, oh, we were super successful. We made a lot of money. We had a big family. But man, did we struggle. Man, was our heart hurt all the time. Man, was it hard to sleep every night. And some of them are like, man, no wonder we had like we went through 3 wives, right? Like until we found one woman that's willing to kind of like embrace that. Right. They're like, so my mission really is to heal, right? But I'm not like a healer or anything. I know everybody heals on their own thing. Everybody has their own way. I just want to find a way that they can work while they heal. Right? They can work while they decompress and they can kind of do it with their brothers. So the whole idea was a transitional work program, but I also know that we need to reconnect with communities, right? Because our country also suffers. And I think as long as we can't maintain a us and them, like, oh, we're veterans and they're civilians,
right?
That we're not going to be able to take the lessons in selflessness and sacrifice and putting aside differences in beliefs, religion, race, socioeconomic, putting all that aside to complete a mission. Like, no one has been indoctrinated in those tenets more than veterans. And I say indoctrinated because that's what we are. We were indoctrinated, but we already had that calling in our heart. I think basic training does the same thing that money does. It amplifies who you already are.
Right. No, absolutely.
Everybody always says, oh, well, I didn't really join for the greater good. I joined money for college. I joined this. But you know what? If we really think about it, there are other ways to get money for college other than joining the military. Even if you don't have your ways. Absolutely. Right? There are other things but I think those that served had something inside us that said, you have to serve. Right. You have to serve for your people to your left and your right. You have to serve for your community. You have to serve for whatever. And then I think basic training amplifies that. So that indoctrination just amplifies those traits that caused us to go. Because if you know, we're not angels, man. There are veterans out there, And that's why I said they go to basic training and it just amplifies who they already are. If they went there with ill intent in their heart, and then it just amplifies that. I mean, we know those guys. It's those guys that really didn't understand what our missions were really about, and it was all about let's just go fucking blow shit up and kill things, right? Like they had this perception. I mean, look, man, I'll throat stomp, fucking knife hand a motherfucker just as quick as anybody. But I know that's not always our mission,
right?
You know what I mean? Like we're I think man, who said it? I can't remember who said it best. It was one of the commandants or whatever. But they used to always say that we're not barbarians. The Marine Corps are not a bunch of wild, crazy barbarians, man. We are knights. We have honor. We fight with honor, but we fight ravenous, man. Like we're fucking, you know what I mean? We're crazy. We'll annihilate stuff, but we do it honorably, right? Like we don't.
Absolutely. No, you're good. No, absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. We do fight honorably. I mean, it's like Teddy Roosevelt's wife said. She was like, "These are the nastiest, gruesome guys, but they also the kindest and most generous people you'll ever meet." Because it's true. I mean, that's why people look at us. They're like, Marines, they're fucking crazy. They're crazy, right? Why? Because our ancestors, our brothers and sisters, like you said when you were doing the history lessons, it was because of them. They established who we are today. They established that chaos that says, oh, he's a Marine. My wife's always like, you guys can sniff each other out. You can walk in a room and sniff each other out because you guys know. And it's true. Anywhere you go, you'll find another Marine. You'll be like, oh, he's another jarhead. Let me go talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just that brotherhood we have. We have that brotherhood, and a lot of people don't understand that. Like any other branch around, they don't understand the brotherhood that we have. We both stepped on those yellow footprints at a 45-degree angle and said, aye, sir. You know what I'm saying? We all went through the same training. We've done the training. We've done this. We've done that. Regardless if you were an O3 or you're an engineer or whatever you did, everybody stood on the same damn footprints. Everybody looked at that EGA and said, I'm going to be a Marine. And they carried on with the fight. Because like they say, we understand all Marines are riflemen. But it's like, you don't understand the extent of what that means, honestly and truthfully. Because regardless if you're an O3 or you're an admin or you're an engineer or you're motor T, all y'all are freaking riflemen. You all understand how to pick up that rifle and how to shoot down range and ensure you hit the target accurately. You know, and I think that's one of the struggles that we have as to coming into a civilian world. People don't understand our mindset, our leadership skills. Why you put us in charge of something, we're going to ensure that the job gets done correctly. You know, and it scares a lot of people because you're like, you're too high function. You're a high functioning person. You told me what the mission was, and I ensured that I provided you a completed mission. You know, and that's one of the struggles, man. So with your Maxwell soaps itself, what do you? How did you get involved with that? How did this gentleman? How did your brother? Get you into
that? So like I said, I had combined an OIF therapy group with the Vietnam group, and in that group was a gentleman named David Rothenberg, and David Rothenberg was actually this huge banking investor. And he worked for one of the big banks down in South Orange County. And he used to run an advisory board with a bunch of real estate guys, business owners, and all these kind of things. And in our group, I was sharing how I had this mission for a transitional work program using a dog training center and a small urban farm, right? As a means to bring veterans in because dogs help increase social interaction. So my thing is, I think the quicker we can find commonalities with our civilian brothers and sisters, the faster we can heal and kind of heal our communities and kind of penetrate. It's almost like, man, I really think we need to infiltrate into the civilian world. Like I had mentioned this and I heard somebody else talk about it too. Like I think veterans have this, not that we're better, but the way I look at it is our training and our self-sacrifice is kind of like the snow on the mountain caps, right? And then those snow, that selflessness and all that stuff that's indoctrinated filters down into rivers, into streams and beds, and then it nurtures and raises up that idea within our communities, but we need to kind of get back to it. Right. So dogs help increase social action. They help build things together. So I was sharing this with him. I had this idea for a transitional work program, and he says, "Oh man, that's great. I do this advisory board. I'd love you to come." And then I happened to tell my friend Max about it because he was talking about his soap company. We were two parallel things, two different options. He was working on this soap company. It was a hygiene initiative and a homeless initiative initially. He didn't even think about it as a transitional program. He was more about this. How can I figure? Well, the way it happened for him was he was back from whatever deployment it was, and he was struggling, and he was going through his own kind of therapy stuff. And he didn't know what to do with himself. He had been deploying constantly. And somebody said, "Well, do you have anything you can do?" And he says, "Well, with your hands. Well, I know how to make soap." So he started making soap. But he didn't even think about a business. He was just making soap. We ended up having like a ton of soap, like all the time. And he had soap in his bag always. He was always out with soap. And he said he went into a grocery store and they had this thing on there and and the lady said, "Hey, you want to donate a couple bucks for the homeless?" And whatever it was, he goes, "Yeah, here's 20. It was like his last, like he just paid for something. It was last 20 bucks. "Yeah, I'll do 20. And he puts 20 in the thing, proceeds to go outside. He's walking down the street. And then the homeless guy goes, "Hey man, you got any change?" And he's like, "Man, I just gave the last 20 bucks in there for the homeless thing." He goes, "I got some soap. Would you like some soap?" And he said that when he said that, he thought, "What a stupid question," right? Like, right. He said he wants soap. And the guy goes, and he says, the guy lit up. And he's like, "Hell yeah, I want soap. Because, man, I live on the streets, right? Like, right. I'm always dirty. Yeah, I want soap." So he has really good soap, man. He gave it to him, and he said, and then he just walked away, and he kept going, and it just stuck in his head. And then from that point on, he just started walking around, and he would just give guys soap. But then he started to think, like, well, where can they shower, and how can they, what's the thing? And then he realized that he couldn't just keep buying soap, making it, and giving it away. Right. And I think he was at a store somewhere, and he saw like that Tom's shoes. Oh yeah. Tom's, right? Yeah. You buy a pair of shoes, they give a pair of shoes. Right. So he's like, "Just do that with soap." Right. So he's like, "I'll sell a really good bar of soap, and then I'll give a bar of soap." So that his thing was born, and then he found a nonprofit that was converting buses into mobile showers and laundries. Oh wow! So he ran a 5,000 bar of hope campaign, raised 5,000. We didn't sell 5,000 bars, but we made enough money to buy the 5,000. The things to buy the 5,000 bar. Right. So we had enough to do it. So did that, and we just took off, and we just kept doing it, kept going. But he was like I said, and I was working on this, but I need a space, right? So I didn't have a product, so I invited Max because I thought that was really cool, and I had told David about it. He said, "Well, bring him to the thing," and then we started being mentoring together with Dave Rothenberg, but still parallel. And then we were about to do some work together, and then David passed. He passed. Oh man! His service, all of this stuff from his past service. Man, he was in Vietnam. Like he used to tell stories. About being in the DMZ and them spraying Agent Orange on him, and how like he had survived like up-teen number of cancers, and then finally the last one just got him, right. But he was talking about how it would get so hot at the DMZ that they would rub kerosene on their bodies because it evaporated easier and they'd stay cooler. And I was like, man, I'm never complaining about anything that happened in the cooler bed because this dude would this Marine rubbed kerosene on his body to stay cool.
And that shit, it's just talk shit about like hard motherfucker. Shit like that we suffer from. Things like that we suffer from that people don't understand. Like when we tell these stories to civilians, they look at you like, "Why would you do that?" And you're like, "You have never been put in a position where you have to do these things." And it sucks. Yeah. It's sad to say that because it's like, how can I even talk to you? How can I relate to you if you can't understand the shit that I've been through? You know.
Well, see, you know what's crazy, man, is that he didn't tell those stories, man. Like he was like he said he would share, man. That it's like, well, how did you get? He's like, man, I was like, well, how did you do it? He's like, I just pushed it down, and then at night I drank a lot of alcohol.
Right.
And he's like, I didn't tell my stories. He goes, people had no idea that the last 30 years of my life was suffering because I'm successful.
Right.
He's like, I made it. Like, and that's what people gauge. He's like, it was even harder for me to tell them. Like, I didn't want to tell people anymore because then I'd be like a fraud. Right. Like,
right.
He's like, I'm this wealthy man, has a great job, a beautiful house and all this stuff, but I'm suffering every day.
And that's
I don't want that for you guys, man. He goes, I don't want that.
That's one thing.
I want to help you build your business now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing we get afraid of as a veteran. That's one thing we suffer with, dude. Is that, you know? So my brother Jesse Estley, Gunny Estley, over at Born in a Bar. He's actually putting a book together because like you said, your brother never told a story. Like, he never talked about this stuff, right? Because it's hard to talk to somebody that hasn't served, that hasn't been through shit, right? And so that's what Gunny Estley's doing with Born in a Bar. That book will be drops in November, and he is saying he's doing stuff like that because he don't want those stories to die, because those are our experiences that we had while serving, you know. And like you said, he told you, he's like, I didn't want people to see that side of me. But your brothers and your sisters need to see that side of you, because we can relate. When you say stuff like, dude, I did some crazy, stupid crap like that too. It wasn't that, but I did something just as stupid as that. You know what I'm saying? Like that, rubbing kerosene on his body to stay cool, because it's what kept him cool where he was at, you know? And like you said, he passed. But I mean, and these are the things that we're fighting for. These are the things that we're battling, is like, hey, how do I got to fight the VA on this, because you know them. They come back and say, well, that's not service connected. What do you mean it's not service connected? Like the whole Agent Orange things for the Vietnam veterans. It took how many years before they said, okay, Agent Orange is now a thing that you can get from doing that, you know? For me, I was, like I said, I was in from 01 to 2010, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's one thing they say is like, with the burn pits. I was like, you guys don't realize what the burn pits were doing at that time, or who actually had to conduct
or what they're gonna do in 5 years.
You know, in 20 years, when they come out and say, oh, if you were in Iraq from this time to this time and you were...
Well, man, look, although, like, common sense, right? Like, we're burning feces with diesel
fuel, right?
You know what I mean? And we're stirring it in a fucking barrel with sticks.
With big sticks. Like, come on now.
Yeah, big fucking stick.
But it's stuff like...
Hey, look, at the time, I was at the rank where I didn't have to do that, but I never made, but I did, because I grew up in a time where you never made your Marines do anything that you wouldn't do yourself.
Right. That you wouldn't do yourself.
Wouldn't show them how to do it first.
Right. And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
This is how you do it.
Being in the Corps, being a leader in the Corps, you understand, if I wouldn't do it, I'm not going to make my jarheads, I'm not going to make my devil dogs do it.
Yeah.
But if I've done it, they're going to do it too. They're going to understand what it was like to do it, you know? But that's just the leadership. That's a leadership role. We know how to lead Marines. We know how to lead people. And that's what I tell people. Like, I've had my brother Ryan Saunders, another jarhead. I had him on the show not too long ago with G-Row Enterprise. And he's like, I wanted to bring you on board to be part of my team, because he understands how we think as jarheads. What's the mission? What do you need to do? What needs to be done? And how can we do it? Because he's like, honestly, he's like, I don't know how to say it in civilian terms, but I need you to be my company guns and go out and help me find these contracts and get. I was like, that's what a company guns does. He ensures that everything you incorporate.
That's right.
Work, and you make sure
beans, bullets, and band-aids, man.
Beans, bullets, and band-aids. And he's like, that's what I need you to be, is like my company guns. He's like, I don't know how to say that as a civilian. I don't know what that role is as a civilian, but as a company guns, beans, bullets, and band-aids, you know? And I was like, all right, I understand that. Let's get things rolling. Let's get everything working together. And that's one of the scary
things. Actually, no, man. Actually, you know what? Company gun is even more than that.
Yeah.
Beans, bullets, band-aids, training.
Right. Yeah. All that. You understand it. You understand it, man. So with your Maxwell soaps,
I think just before what ended up happening was just before David passed, right? Like, he's like, Joe, you got it's this great project. He goes, it's a service. So you're offering the service as a product, right? It's all service, dog training, farming, it's people would have to, and then Max is like, you got this great product. And I think at some point he had just said, he goes, man, you guys should just put that together. And that was it. He just said, you guys should just put that together. And then we didn't pay it any mind, but then he passed. And then I think me and him were talking, and he's just like, why don't we just put this together? And then he's like, Joe, he goes, and then as we started to work together, I was like, all right, well, let's do it. So we started doing this. I took it over. I moved here to Texas. I'm making most all the soap. We do the whole thing. Max is still out there. He still beats the street, hands out soap, makes finding other organizations that we can kind of partner up and marry together. Same as me. It's almost like we're infiltrating, man. Like it's like we're out there, we're doing like a reconnaissance, right? Like we're doing a leaders recon and human intelligence. Like we're a head team now. And the way I say it is like, but you guys hear me talk about this all the time. It's just building the village. It's right. Because in the end, this whole success of this thing depends on the village. So we started working together on the soap because it's a product and I have a service. But we can marry them together. And what's great about the product is that since it's a transitional work program, Max recognized the therapeutic nature of making soap. So that's why we're partnering together so that we can grow this thing. So the idea has always been to, for a lack of better term, that Max puts it, he's like, so that we can make more Joes. Like we can make more soap guys. We can make more owner operators. We can make more, like empower more people to do more things. Right. And the way I envision that is bring back what we're missing. Like, and right now is a great time. Right now is a prime reason why this is the time. Is we're seeing what's happening right now, right? Like people aren't being able to do their own businesses because there are ships with material to try to come in, right? We are in a country of 300 million plus, an exceptional country, by the way. And a lot of those things that are waiting outside in boats were raw materials that were sourced here, sent somewhere else to make. And now they're sitting outside waiting to come back in. Right. Why did we even bother that? So the idea is now a transitional work program that uses artisan manufactured products, soaps, whatever else we can make. Anything. I mean, I'm even thinking of considering like Shane, your friend Shane, because me and him connected on Facebook, and I had mentioned that I was looking at material products and like. Is to really do manufacturing here again, but to do it with the transitional work program, with other veterans, and now it's not just veterans, man. I think that's expanded. Like anybody that's looking to transition into something else and empower themselves, right? And to build communities. I think it's a perfect mixture, and to use those kind of things that are self-healing. Like the soap is cool because it's tedious. So the way I see it, it's almost like a weapons cleaning table, right? And everybody's got their supply, and their part in front of them, and they're doing their thing, and their buddies in front of them, and to the left and their right, and we're healing as we're creating a good product that actually benefits everybody, right? It's a good product. It has a good mission, and it's healing everything, right? It's a way to just get them. And then what's great about soap is it's a way to market the whole mission, right? Like my end customer are the guys that go through the program, complete it. And for me, I think it's a win either way. It's a win for the guys that go, hey, we want to stay on as a part of Maxwell Soap and help this mission grow. Right. Absolutely. We want to grow more centers. We want to grow more manufacturing facilities where we're making soap or we're making whatever we can figure out to make this healing, right? And it's a win for guys to go, man, thank you for helping me sit through this and really transition and really reconnect and get back out and find my next mission, my next career, right? Like I think those are both wins for me, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely, man. Shoot, I mean, what you're doing is, you found your purpose, you found your cause. I think that's one of the biggest struggles we have as veterans is, what do I do now? Where do I go? What can I do? What can I help with? And like I tell a lot of people, I said, if you sit at home, bored, lonely, find a nonprofit, find an organization like Maxwell Soaps, and say, "Hey, I'm bored and I need help. I need to find something to do." And I guarantee you, if, like I tell people, like I said, Travis Johnson told me there's 22,000 veteran nonprofits in the U.S. So that means there's a veteran nonprofit in your area, wherever you live, wherever you listen to this. Get out there and ask them, how can I help you? I need something to do. I don't want to, because you sit in the house, you're going to get lonely, you're going to get bored, you're going to get scared, you're going to cry, and you're going to do all kinds of things.
But see, the cool thing, though, is we're not a nonprofit, man. We're a for-profit. And I did that
for a profit. Yeah, right? But I mean, even that, for a for-profit company.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to, look, I didn't coin the term, but I'm going to use it. We're not actually a for-profit. We're a for-purpose company, right? Like, our company serves a purpose, right? And it's not just soaps, right? And there's a reason that we picked that Max, that I thought, man, that's a great idea to partner with Max. You know why? Because at least people buy soap every month. So if I can put a good mission behind it, not only is it just a soap, but it's also a message point. It's a way to get the message out there that there's a better way to do things, right?
Right.
Don't be nasty, which is the tagline, right? Don't be nasty doesn't just mean about being clean, about not having dirty hands. Don't be nasty is like, I mean, you remember, we used to say it in the core, at least in our unit, we say it all the time. Don't be nasty, man. Participate, man.
Right.
You know, don't be a fucking buddy fucker. It's be a part of the team. You know, it encompassed so much more than just cleanliness, right? It meant participation. Absolutely. It meant living a life of selflessness, right? JJ did tie buckle. That's what
JJ did tie buckle, right? Absolutely, brother.
Don't be nasty is just an easy way of saying JJ did tie buckle. Right?
If you guys don't know, you guys need to go check out JJ did tie buckle. You don't
Google it.
Google it. JJ did tie buckle. You'll find it, man. So Joe, we're getting close to the end of the show, man. Why don't you give some final words of encouragement and tell people how they can reach you and how they can get in contact with you and become part of the team?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Check us out online. We're just the letter B, nasty.com. Or you could also find us at MaxwellsSoap.com. No S on the soaps. No S on soap for the .com. Or just, man, find me. I'm like, my Facebook's just, you can even friend me. I'm public on Facebook. We have an Instagram, same thing, at Maxwell Soaps. Facebook page, Maxwell Soaps. I just want to share something really quick, man. I have all these packages with me, right? Like this, they got to go out. Be on the lookout. This is our new soap. It's not on the market yet. Hopefully you'll see some reviews coming up. This is going to be on the market in November. It is our Lavender Hemp Java. It's probably one of the coolest soaps I've made so far. It's a hemp seed oil base, but I've added some coffee as an exfoliator. And one of the things that's great about Maxwell Soaps, and we're going to start working on this on our website, is that 90% of the stuff that goes into this thing is elevating something else. Everything that I use to make this is an elevation of somebody else's business. A veteran business makes our labels. A veteran business helped design and restructure some of our logos. Like a veteran business provided me the coffee for the soaps, right? The only thing is it's not a veteran yet is the actual base that I used to make it, but that will change because you're going to hear right now, man, we are scaling up. I am, after this November, you're going to see a huge push. We're going to start working on a thing I call support, scale, and grow fundraising. It's a way to do a third-party fundraiser to help scale and grow a veteran small business that has a product. At the same time, find a nonprofit to provide continuous support for through subscription-based purchases. Like I do a subscription-based soap. When we do this, man, it's going to be great. Because it's time to scale up, man. Like Absolutely. It's time for me to stop being the only one that's taking benefit from making the soaps, and I need to get more. So the more subscriptions I get, so basically I have this goal of 200 subscriptions by November. We're still way short of that. And the idea was if I had 200 soaps, I was going to be able to hire one more veteran. So every 100 bar of soap subscriptions, I think I'll be able to hire another person to actually get a part of the program and start making soaps.
Right.
So that's the next project. Also, you're going to see a lot more live stuff I'm going to start doing, Jose.
Awesome.
Or Juan, because we actually have we have a location, a possible location for manufacturing. It's a family thing. And I'm going to share with this audience. Sometimes I suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's where
Mr. What's his name? What's the gentleman I had on the show? I can't.
And there's a reason.
Yeah.
And I want to share this, man. There's a reason. Is that Maxwell Soaps and what I'm doing is a transitional work program. It's a way to help and empower people. And I'm out there and we're doing this work, and I struggle because I have my own family members that struggle, that I haven't been able to help empower. So I want to bring these two missions together. So we're going to grow. I'm going to help build a facility. We're going to do a facility, and we're going to empower people. And I think this goes to what everybody says, right? Like about filling your cup. And what I've come to the realization is that filling that cup doesn't necessarily mean monetarily, right? My cup doesn't have to overflow with money for me to empower people, but it does have to overflow with my own wealth, with my own idea of what I'm able to provide. And until I'm providing that overflowingly, I think I'm going to struggle. And that's changing, man. That changed this morning, and it's going to change from this point forward.
Absolutely, brother. You got to keep that positive mindset. That's the biggest struggle we have as veterans, keeping positive mindsets. It's just when one thing doesn't go our way, we get frustrated, and we don't think of a resolution on how to fix it. How can I fix this? What I screw as a jarhead yourself, that's one of our things is that we fix everything that we encounter. Right, we have to make sure we can fix it and carry on with the mission. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest struggles.
You mentioned it earlier, Juan, and I wanted to share right now. I was just kicking it around. Hey, I'd like to do for whoever's watching on here and supporters of your show, I want to do a 10% discount code for them. So if they can go on and all they need to do is put in TSV10, TSV10.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Look at that. You guys heard that, right? TSV10. Tango Sierra Victor 10.
10% off on any bar soap purchase. Like if you just buy the bar individually, it'll be 10% off. If you guys are following Juan and you want to buy a subscription, there's already a 10%. So
you already taken care of. He's already taken care of it.
But if you want to give us a try and you want to buy a bar to give us a try before you pull the trigger on a subscription, you should put that code and you'll get the 10% discount.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate that. Hey guys, like I said, man, for Joe, if you go in the description box, wherever you listen to the podcast, whether it's on audio platform or you come to my YouTube channel, please come to the YouTube channel, subscribe so I can get more subscribers, right? Because that's how this thing grows, because it's because of you guys watching the show. I'm going to have all Joe's information down below in that description box on how to reach to him. You want to become part of his team, how you can reach out to him and get his information so you can become part of the team. Hell, you may be able to open up your own manufacturing place in your area where you're at and help Mr. Joe and Maxwell Soaps grow, because that's what it's about, is growing our community. You know, you guys always know that I'm always about growing our community and making sure we take care of each other, because that's what our goal is now. Being jarheads, Joe and myself, Staff Sergeant Palacios and Sergeant G, we're a team, and that's how it always works. Staff Sergeant comes down. Sorry, hey, Sergeant, this is the mission. This is what we got to get accomplished. This is what we're going to do. Let me know you need anything, and we get it accomplished. And that's what I do. I carry the backbone of the Marine Corps. We are the backbone of the Marine Corps. Like I tell you guys, I'm glad you guys came to hang out with me and Joe. Joe's a great guy. He's an awesome brother, dude. Like I tell you guys, you need anything, reach out to us. Since like I tell you guys on every episode, you are important. You are needed in this world. Don't think you're doing it by yourself, because I'm here for you. If you're trying to figure out who else is here, Staff Sergeant's here for you as well. Don't feel like you're alone. Nobody else can do what you can in this planet. Everybody needs you, because you're the only one that can do it, man. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Remember, guys, here at the Stone Vet, we got your six.
dressed in camo with ammo for every situation I handle. They got us marching and stepping by my platoon, you get trampled. If it ain't raining, we ain't training. Nothing changed by complaining. I adapt and overcome. I make the best out of situations. I stay alert for my enemies trying to do me some harm. I fight for your freedom of speech and your right to bear arms. When I say I got your six, that means I got your back. But what else would you expect coming from the Stone Vet?